Welcome friends to a beautiful day at the Spruce Stomper Homestead. Today, we fabricate. This is in no way some sort of tutorial. I'm very open about that, and all I claim to be is an enthusiastic amateur in many subjects. Many of you might be a little more familiar with seeing me work with lumber, which is typically what I do, but in this case, steel, it is for a job that is upcoming. It's for a build, and these are beam saddles. 1 and 2, the beam goes in the middle, done deal. These get some holes drilled in them for structural screws, and then these get welded on the bottom as ears to go on the post. So post to beam saddle, and you'll see a little clearer once we get one of these all tacked together. So I got all this cut out, all the pieces pre-cut at a shop in town on a plasma table. Super cheap, like super cheap. He charges you for the steel, and he charged me 85 bucks to cut all this out. And these haven't even been cleaned up with a grinder. They're super clean. Like, the guy does an awesome job. So why even bother considering doing any of this on your own in that case? So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill the holes, and I'm gonna tack weld them all together. And when we get to that point, we'll discuss a little further. Okay, so step one here is a little bit of layout. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 per ear. And then when you weld them on, you reverse one from the other. So when you're putting your screws in, they don't line up with each other on the post. They're 1/4 inch, so I got a 5/16 bit and allow for a little wiggle room. And, well, this isn't exactly cutting oil, but some sort of lube is better than no sort of lube. Just got these roughly lined up. I mean, they're just wood, they're just for holding wood together. We don't gotta get too crazy here. Guy doesn't want to drill in the table, so try and make sure that the hole's lined up with the hole in the table. Don't want to scar it up already. There you have it. One set done. Well, I'll tell you, nothing wrong with that drill press for this little stuff. So once you've got one drilled, what I think you're wise to do, my opinion, is take one of the ones that you've drilled before you go ahead and get all these messy with your cutting fluid and all that sort of stuff, and just lay them out, because now you have a template. Now, being that you guys are taking the time to watch these videos, figured maybe I could share something about myself once in a while. Funny enough, we're doing this metal work. I am actually and take this lightly, I am a journeyman machinist, actually. That's what I started out in the trades. Well, that one's dusty. Was a machinist. Did my apprenticeship and worked at several shops, did all that kind of thing. But I can tell you what, okay, the word journeyman or ticket, it gets used pretty loosely, and in my opinion, doesn't mean anything, and I'm a good example. So I hold a ticket for machining, but if you threw me into a machine shop, well, it'd be like I was back in an apprenticeship. I would be slow, and I would have to ask a lot of questions, and I probably, in general, wouldn't know exactly what I was doing because it's been a very long time. And that's all based on the experience that you got when you did your apprenticeships. There's a lot of things I don't know and never got exposed to. Now, in the same breath, I build stuff now with wood for a living, carpentry, and possess no carpentry ticket. So there you go. In my opinion, the ticket is the paper. In my opinion, the ticket that a lot of guys are so proud of is often worth about as much as the paper that it's written on, because it all depends on what you've been exposed to. All the holes are done. This drill press, well, what's my first impression? I think it was pretty awesome. Now, the real hero here is this drill bit. It could use a touch-up. I mean, barely use a touch-up. Like, it's actually in really good shape. I drilled 142 holes through 1/2-inch plate. I think it maybe took me an hour and a half, maybe, you know, setting up in between or whatever. And I didn't touch or sharpen this one time. And this is actually just a can of penetrating oil that was kicking around, working like a charm. So worth it. I mean, this isn't your Jobber Home Depot type drill bit. I mean, I think it was like $8 for one drill bit, but it was good to go, and it's good for a heck of a lot more holes. 142 holes through 1/2-inch plate. I think that thing's just fine. Well, that part of the plan backfired. This, it's a little inverter welder that I'm gonna tack these together with, because it's what I have handy here at home today. But it'll run on 220 volt. So I went to the trouble to stop at the electrical wholesaler, matched it up. They give me the box for the plug, you know, perfect, because the one I had in the garage that was 220 wasn't the right plug-in. I don't know if it wasn't the wrong plug inside the box, you know, when I got home, but that's on me. Should have checked the box. So not ideal, but it'll run on 110. So we're plugged into 110. Just a real small rod. Like I said, we're just tacking together, so it'll get me by for today. So pretty self-explanatory. Bang, bang. That worked out good. Stayed square. Plenty strong enough to be tacked the way it is. So, okay, we're in business. So I don't know if I mentioned it already, but I'm taking these elsewhere to get fully welded. Like just just buzz it with a MIG welder, but save a bit of time here and get them tacked together and ready. And then they have the clearances that I want and all that sort of good stuff. You know, the more you can keep in house, maybe the better if you got the time. I mean, what do they say? Time is money, but I'm not doing this for free, so tack it on kind of equal so it pulls evenly. Deadly, eh? We're on a roll here. On a roll. Even when I worked in those machine shops and hydraulic, well, I shouldn't say didn't have to do a lot of welding. It's funny, the machine shop I did way less welding, like barely any actually. I mean, you were hired as a machinist, so I guess what would you be doing? welding all the time, but it was part of the job. It was kind of a do-all kind of shop. I did a little bit of everything. But the hydraulic shop, that was a different story. That had all sort of opportunity for welding. Primarily doing cylinder repairs, which was boring as all get out. Finally, we're on our last one here. Oh, my dog's running away. Dog. Sometimes you wonder about that dog. Is he running away or is he just finally lost his marbles? Better too loose than too tight. Kind of nice to build something from start to finish, you know, like I built the brackets and I put the posts. I'm gonna put the posts up, I'm gonna put the beams up, and we get to do the whole project. Look at all those unburnt rods. Like that, I'm not burning. See that? Does that look like a welding glove to you? No. It was a thin, it's like the worst possible glove that you could be wearing for doing this. You know, you get to the very last one and you're like, man, I just started getting a rhythm. All right, we're back out in the sunshine. It's been a few minutes since we last spoke. Remember these beauties? Things are coming full circle. Nothing better than getting to see a project start and then a project finish and see where these end up. So I'll take you up the ladder. Let's have a look. Okay, bracket in hand. Make sure the splay goes to the outside. Easy as pie. It's got a couple screws in it just to tack it for now while we put the beams up. There's no wind load on anything. Perfectly fine to leave it like that. Simpson SDS screws is what's spec. 2.5 inch. Almost 30 of them per bracket. Serious business. I don't know. I don't live in Hurricane Alley, but maybe this spec's gonna turn into it one day. There you have it. An exciting conclusion to the fabrication project. Now, super strong, super satisfying. I didn't have to wait for shipping. It didn't hold up the project. And, you know, guy got to exercise a few more skills. Really appreciate you watching. Lots more in store. We'll catch you on the next one.